What's going on, guys? It's Luke22SV here, and we're here with the 6th round of the second season of the Mick Schumacher career mode. We're going straight into it with the Monaco Grand Prix qualifying here straight away. Coming in with this weekend with a few upgrades as well. So coming off of the back of a win in Spain, coming into one of the hardest tracks to get right in the calendar, and a track where we're not actually looking too good here in practice. We were a little bit off the pace and struggling a few times at the start of the practice, but coming through one of the longest serving tracks on the entire calendar, where the walls are just a fraction away from disaster. So coming around Lowe's hairpin now, just the slowest corner on the entire calendar, taking it around 20 miles an hour there, but poor exit really. Not the best lap, probably could have done a bit better, but I just wanted to get a lap in. And nicely coming through the tunnel now up towards the chicane. Stoffel Van Dorn setting the first lap time, but that's a lap time that should be beaten quite easily by a lot of people, and Valtteri Bottas does go quicker. So coming off the back of a win in Spain and a win in Azerbaijan as well from our teammate, Sauber is looking quite good now. So coming round the last few corners, we come up towards the Raskas, and that is the end of this lap, coming now towards my favourite part of the track really. And they're coming up to the finish straight. What is our lap time going to be? We get DRS open, and it's a fairly decent lap. But we come across the line now, and with P2 provisionally, so we're happy with that. We're going to end the qualifying with that lap, and we end up 12th on the grid, so not ideal. We've got Red Bulls on the front row with both the Ferraris on row 2. Renault now looking quite strong as well, so Renault ahead of Mercedes. Then you've got the Saubers and McLarens and Force India as well. Perez doing well, Alonso putting in a good lap time, but we're outside the top 10 where we could be inside the top 10, so not looking too good for us. So hopefully we can improve on that in the race, but it's hard to overtake around this track. And both the Williamses are just hopeless again, which that's what we're used to now. In this career mode, they've just been completely useless since the start of Season 1. But moving on then to the race then for the Monaco Grand Prix for Season 2. What can we do from 12th on the grid? It's huge opportunity for us to get into the points. Hopefully we gained a lot of position this time on the last race we had here. Had a great lap 1, but ended the race in a collision with Alonso, and then Bottas I think came up the hill and smashed into us, and then we were out of the race. But Red Bull looking strong again. Ricciardo on pole, Verstappen second. Both the Ferraris looking good as well on the road 2. Raikkonen and Vettel, and then Hulkenberg doing well for Renault. Mercedes starting to slip back down the order. Renault improving all the time, so Renault third best team really. Our teammate doing well in 9th. So Sauber not looking as good as we have done in Barcelona and Azerbaijan, but still looking fairly decent, and with basically the 5th best team. And then you see both the Williamses at the back there, hopeless for them. But we're coming then onto the start of the race then for the Monaco Grand Prix. What can we do from 12th on the grid? We'll find out just about now, as the lights will go out now, and it's the lights out, away we go, and it's a fairly decent start, but Magnussen gets a better start. Magnussen gets a hell of a start. We're heading into turn 1. Magnussen gaining several places there. We gain a place on Perez though, and now we're almost side by side with Alonso, but he gets a better exit. We're a bit out of shape out of the first corner, and we come up towards the casino section, go down the inside of Alonso, finding a nice little overtake there. A good move, and now we're just focusing on trying to get past Magnussen and maybe our teammate Leclerc, who's just ahead. We dive down the inside of Magnussen and Leclerc into the Mirabeau corner, and coming up to Lowe's hairpin, yellow flags, and we go down the inside of Bottas, and we're a bit slow out of the Lowe's hairpin, literally 15 miles an hour. And as we do get out of the hairpin now, the safety car is deployed for some reason as well. So there must have been a bit of carnage going into the Lowe's hairpin. There was yellow flag before we went into the hairpin actually, so something must have happened, but the safety car is out, so we wonder why that is. As we come towards the swimming pool chicane, we're in P8 after lap 1, so good lap 1 for us. We gained 4 places ahead of Bottas. We've gained places on our teammate, and of course it looks like we've gained on Alonso as well, and Magnussen had a good start, so interesting to see what happened, why the safety cars come out, but good start for us. We're happy with that. But 8th place in after lap 1, around these unforgiving walls of Monaco, hoping to improve on what happened last season, hopefully finish the race this time, which would be ideal for us. But here is the start then. What happened from the start, both the Red Bulls getting away rather cleanly, and then you can see the Ferraris, Renaults, Mercedes heading into turn 1, and then you can see ourselves behind Kevin Magnussen, and the Force India almost looked like it went into the wall there as well. So that would have been Esteban Ocon as we come up towards the casino section, go diving down the inside of Alonso, catching him unaware a bit there, and then coming up to the place where all the cars just seem to concertina up. and probably why the safety car actually came out, because we dived down the inside of Magnussen and Leclerc, and then everyone's slowing down so slow, and then we dive down the inside of Bottas, and then everyone just stops. And I think that is why the safety car is deployed. As you can see, everyone's literally stopped there. I don't know why that is, but everyone has slowed down, and then all the safety cars out, and then everyone's ghosting. And I think, well, both the Williamses are slow. They're right down there, and you can see Stoffel Van Dorn at the back. But yeah, don't know why the safety car actually came out for that. But as you can see, Stoffel Van Dorn finally gets away, and we go back to ourselves. Yeah, that's the end of lap 1, and now we're going to have to move on to see when we come out to the end of the safety car period, as Lance Stroll and Sorokin now get moving. So bizarre start to the race then, pretty much for us, for everyone else, to come towards the end of the lap, and we're up into P8 then at the start. So a good start. Can we get some points today to move on to when the safety car is coming in? So it'll be lap 4 when the safety car comes in, and we can get underway then and really start this race. Hopefully we can challenge Carlos Sainz straight off the start here if we can. Hopefully get a good restart, catch him unawares, like we did in Azerbaijan. We caught someone unaware. I think it was Daniel Ricciardo actually, which enabled us to get into P2. So we've had a few safety cars this season, but we're now underway to start lap 4 then in Monaco, for the Monaco Grand Prix, coming up to the main straight with Carlos Sainz just ahead of us, who gets a better start. And it's the engineer coming into our radio and telling us to change the strategy, and we do agree to actually pit early. So we're looking to get the undercut on these guys, and hopefully we can actually get into the podium perhaps, because Ferrari aren't really that far away. So that would be good if we can gain a few places in the pit stops, and we've got a few cars behind us as well. So coming now down to the hairpin, it's very hard to overtake. So normally if you're going to overtake, the best way to do it is in the pits, and that's what we're going to try and do the next lap around. Part of me was considering to pit under the safety car, but if I did pit onto the safety car and put on ultra softs, would I be held up by cars in front, and would I end up in a fight, or would I lose a bit of damage to the Williams guys, who are so slow and they're so hard to get past? So you'd lose a lot of time if you pit on under the safety car, and you'd end up being on worn tyres towards the end of the race. So we didn't pit under the safety car, but we're now thinking about pitting the next lap, and almost out of shape there, almost into the wall. And it's so easy to put the car in the wall around here. So it's following Carlos Sainz quite closely, and looking for an opportunity to get past Daniel Ricciardo. That's the fastest lap of the race then, as we go on to lap 5, and this is where we'll be pitting. We're over a second slower down on Daniel Ricciardo, because we're just in traffic, and Ricciardo's the only one that's got clean air, apart from probably the Williams that were just a little bit further back, and we've probably got more clean air because there's no one in front of them. But we're in P8 at the moment, and it looks like it could be this way for a while unless we pit now. And hopefully when we do come into the pits, we'll be nice and clean, out in clean air, and be able to put in a good outlap, be able to overtake at least maybe 1 or 2 cars in the pit lane, because most of the guys in front of us will be pitting on lap 6, lap 7 and lap 8. So that would be good news for us if we can get a good outlap. So we're going to be pitting at the end of this lap, come through the tunnel. But now Bottas was actually looking close to us there, because we turned our ERS down, and it's very hard to it's so hard to overtake around here. So you need to save up the ERS for the right time, and we haven't really done that so far. So we're coming into the pits then at the end of this lap, getting over that curb, which is causing us a few problems at the moment, like it did on the last lap. But into the pits we go then, to switch over to the ultra soft tyres. Nice and, well, we don't even need to brake for that pit limiter really. We're coming into the pits, everyone's flying past us. We're going to pit on those ultra soft tyres and see if we can get a good undercut on the guys in front, and hopefully we can get onto the podium if possible. Maybe the Red Bulls look too far away for us, but this would be a huge stroke of luck if we can get in front of these guys. All of them are going to have to respond this lap if we get a good outlap. And we come out of the pits and we can see Sergei Sorokin is actually not too far in front of us. So it just shows how bad the Williams are at the moment, because even after just 2 laps in normal racing speed, we're almost a pit stop ahead of Sergei Sorokin. And I don't know if he had a problem, if he's lost a bit of front wing from the earlier incident on lap 1, but it's still very poor. You can see the Williams just ahead of us. It's actually really good, actually, almost how accurate this actually is almost to the 2019 season, apart from Mercedes obviously being a lot better than they are here, and Red Bull being a little bit less stronger. But Renault improved, but Renault have improved in the 2019 season as well, but they've still got huge reliability problems. But Alfa Romeo still, well, maybe not too much about the Alfa Romeo Sauber winning races, but Raikkonen's been quite consistent already this season for the Alfa Romeo team. But we're right behind Sir Rotkin now, and we've got to try and make a move and try and get past him as quickly as possible. And we do get past him into that corner there, and we do manage to waste as little time as possible in getting past him. So now we're going to come back onto the main straight, and you can see there's a Ferrari that's just coming out of the pits. So who is that going to be? It looks like it is Sebastian Vettel. So we haven't quite got the undercut done. Maybe lost a bit of time there behind Sirotkin. But it's good news that Vettel is in front of us. We're ahead of Magnussen. We're coming on to lap 8 now. We've got a few more cars coming out of the pits, and Leclerc is one of them. So Leclerc's behind us. You can see Raikkonen is in front of us. So we've gained a lot of time, and we're up into P5 at this stage. So we gained on both the Renaults and both the Mercedes. So we're both only people in front of us now are the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. So good bit of pit work by both cars then to get both myself and my teammate up into P5 and P6. So we're both looking really good at the moment for the Sauber team. Again, potential for another good result here. 5th and 6th, you're not complaining about that. So we're moving on behind Raikkonen. Can we get close enough to Raikkonen to actually potentially think about an overtake? We're quite close to him. Remember what happened in our last race as well. Had a little incident when he tried to overtake us and just went over the curb, and just got a little bit too close together with Raikkonen. And of course Australia, we've had a problem with him as well. We had a little incident where he ended up retiring from that. But is Raikkonen the new Magnussen of this season? Because Magnussen was the man we had several incidents with last season. And Raikkonen seems to be the one we're having incidents with this season. We're really close to Raikkonen actually coming out of the Rastgassen onto the main straight. We've got DRS open as we come into Saint-Devote for the first corner of the race, first corner of the track. But lap 9 then, and we're up into P5 from P12. So it's a good start to this race, a good first half of the race then in P5. So we've gained 7 places, and we're getting solid amount of points again. Obviously, Sauber have not got the most aerodynamic car at the moment, and not the best chassis, so the likes of Renault, Mercedes and Ferrari and Red Bull of course will be looking much stronger, and we're the top 5 pretty much at the moment. Force India are there or thereabouts as well, and of course they got the good engine, but the same as us, we got they haven't got quite the best chassis or aero, but we're improving the chassis and aero quite a lot at the moment, and that is putting us further up the grid, and of course it's enabled us to get 2 wins so far this season in just the first 5 races. But on to round 6, it's Red Bull that are looking the strongest again after winning the first 3 races. But actually Mercedes won the Bahrain Grand Prix, so it's been Red Bull, and we hit the wall there as well. So a bit of an incident. We just went over the curb and hit the wall, and we lost a chunk of front wing, so that's going to cost us plenty of time. When we were looking like we could fight Raikkonen for potentially P4, now we're going to have to focus on defending from our teammate behind us. So losing our front wings cost us dearly. A little bit of a disaster for us, just going over the curb, and again these unforgiving walls, these unforgiving curbs have struck again in Monaco. We do not want to have a repeat of last season. It's going so well at the moment, and we just don't want to have to basically end the race going back to the paddock and having to talk to the interviewers before the race has even ended again, like we did last season. Indeed, we end up going over the curb and hitting the wall again, so the front wing damage just leads to more damage coming to the car. And again, once you get some front wing damage, you get more. And Leclerc now is looking to get past us, and perhaps we should let our teammate go. And we're trying not to let him go. In fact, we're trying to fight him off, but perhaps maybe it's a wise decision to let Leclerc go. Perhaps to focus on defending from the cars behind us. The engineer did come and ask us to pit, but we're not happy on that. We're not happy about pitting. We do not want to pit. We come on to the next lap, just the next lap afterwards. We've got Hulkenberg behind us now, who's looking to get past. Our teammates flown past the way, and coming out of the tunnel, Hulkenberg really close, and you've got Magnussen as well. And I think that both the Mercedes are really close, and everyone else is going to start closing in. It's going to be a huge Schumacher train in Monaco, and look at that coming through to back. The amount of understeer this car is now giving us, it's like driving a Williams. I'd imagine it's how driving a Williams would feel like right now. But coming around the last few corners onto the main straight, it's up into P6. It's still a fairly good result at the moment from where we were on the grid. But Hulkenberg and Magnussen are going to be circling like sharks coming onto lap 12 to get past us. And it's only going to be a matter of time, surely, before we lose these places. We come up the hill towards the casino. You can see it's going all the way back to Carl Sainz. Several cars behind us. Hulkenberg, and look at that going through the casino. Hulkenberg now going forward and move on the outside. Can't quite find a manoeuvre around there. We keep ahead of him for now, but Magnussen gets interested going towards Lewis Hamilton. Magnussen, an opportunistic move, gets up into P7 ahead of Hulkenberg. So great stuff from Magnussen, our rival from last season. So he's someone we really do not want to let past, that's particularly for all the stuff that happened last season, particularly in USA. But he's going to make a move then, going through the tunnel side by side. Brave stuff from him, brave stuff from us. That we still keep ahead of him for now, locking up into the chicane. We refused to yield to Kevin Magnussen coming up to the back, and we see even more cars that caught up now. It looks like everyone up to Roman Grosjean is behind us and going through the swimming pool chicane, going over the curbs there as well. Just doing everything we can to keep hold of P6. Got a huge train of cars. We're refusing to pit, and you can see the onboard with Nico Hulkenberg, who's looking to get back past Magnussen, who's mugged him off into Mirabeau and up towards Lewis Hamilton. But Magnussen now looking to make a move into turn 1. Gets quite past us, and we're trying to keep hold of him side by side. It looks like Magnussen's going to keep ahead of him. Magnussen keeping ahead of us. Magnussen gets ahead of Hulkenberg. Let's just run into the wall, and Hulkenberg just lost both his wheels, and Hulkenberg's out of the race. So God knows what happened to Hulkenberg there. We're still ahead of Magnussen. No, we're not ahead of Magnussen. We're ahead of Bottas, but going into the hairpin, going into some next corner, we'd lock up and we're out almost. We lose our front wing and we have to go back to the pits, and that's a complete disaster. We're just thrown it all away in a couple of corners there. Hulkenberg having a huge disaster going up the straight. Ourselves, we're having to go back to the pits and change the front wing. So a huge disaster for us this race. What could have been so much better. We were looking so strong in P5, potentially challenging Raikkonen for P4. So having to let Lance Stroll through here. We're going through the next chicane, and we're locking up, and Stroll hits the wall on the inside there, and for some reason Stroll stopped, and both Van Dorn stopped as well. I don't know what's happened there, but we're moving on back to ourselves. We're going back to the pit lane. Hulkenberg driving into the wall and putting himself out of the race. Again, I think that might be his third retirement of this season. There's been a bit of a shaky start to the season for Renault. Despite having a good car, they haven't been able to get the points. But we're coming into the pits, and we're going to put some ultra soft tyres on, but this is basically game over for us now. Once we come out of the pits, we should surely be in last place, but which is just a complete disaster, complete shambles this race has been for us. Come into the pits now to change the front wing, put on the fresh set of hyper soft tyres. I don't know really what to say at this point. It's just a huge disaster. We just can't get Monaco right at the moment. It's just frustrating for us as we come out of the pits. On lap 14, we'll hit the inside wall as well, which just adds to our problems. Out in P19 behind Sergei Sorokin. So can we catch up with him? That's our target now, just to try and see if we can salvage something from this race. Perhaps maybe not finish P19, maybe finish P18, coming through the next few corners on our outlap. Just coming around Lowes hairpin now. Again, it's a bit of a scruffy outlap again, but here is sector 2, and this is going to be a purple sector 2 as well. So on these fresh hypersofts, we're looking to catch up with the cars ahead of us, and hopefully hoping to make a few more overtakes towards the next few corners. Well, next few laps rather, I should say. But coming up to the swimming pool chicane, I got that corner wrong so many times on the last episode of the season 1 of the Monaco, but I don't really know. I need to probably do a bit more research. But purple sector 2, we're out of shape, and we're in the wall, and we're out of the race. And well, the back end just got completely away from us going through that chicane, and we're out of the race. And well, it's just a disaster for us, really. Coming through the chicane, the back end just completely goes away from us. We're in the wall and we're out of the race, and it's a completely disastrous race for us. But Ricciardo wins from Verstappen, and Vettel getting another podium for Ferrari. So Ferrari looking more happier than they did at the start of the season, with 2 podiums in a row for Sebastian Vettel. But a really disappointing weekend for us, from going from basically 0 to 0 again, from Spain to going to 0 in Monaco. 0 points for us. Leclerc did manage to bring it home in P5. Ocon got P6 in the end, which is great for him. I don't know how he managed that, but Magnussen P7, and then ourselves and Hulkenberg both retiring. Moving on to the constructors, you can see Ricciardo, the drivers rather, Ricciardo and Verstappen lead. We're still in P2 in the constructors. Ferrari back up to P4, Force India down to P5. So Ferrari slowly climbing back up the order. But that's going to be the end of the episode there. well, hopefully Canada will be a better result than that, but Monaco's a difficult race. But thank you guys, like and subscribe, and I'll see you again for the Canadian Grand Prix.